Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. It gives me great pleasure to be back again for the third episode, in which we'll be looking at the word insecurity. It is a condition that afflicts most of us. A lot of us talk about it, and what it actually means, where it comes from, and how it can be dealt with is something that we can only discuss with people with a greater understanding and who come from a domain of expertise. तो हमारे साथ आज तीसरी एपिसोड के लिए साइमा हामिद फिर मौजूद हैं. Thank you very much, Saima, for being with us. And I would like you to shed light on this subject, because it is so important for all of us to understand. It impacts our professional and our personal lives. So, Saima, over to you. Insecurities.
Assalamu
क्या
alaikum
है
ji.
ये?
Thank you
भला
so
क्या है?
much, Kamran Sahab. Thank you so much. Ji, this is a very important topic, insecurities. And I think this is something which everybody can relate to one way or another. Everybody has experienced it as well, one way or another. तो इससे पहले कि हम जरा इसकी डिटेल में जाएं, थोड़ा सा ये समझने की कोशिश करते हैं कि इनसिक्योरिटीज होती क्या हैं.
जी.
What are insecurities? In very simple words, insecurity is a feeling of inadequacy.
Okay.
About your own self, within your own self. Now, there are so many ways to understand insecurities, but I will always focus on understanding insecurities in terms of the law of cause and effect.
Okay.
Let's suppose there is one thing which is cause and it will lead to an effect. Now, अगर हमने इस law के ऊपर insecurities को apply करना होगा, so will it be in the cause or will it be the consequence?
Right.
Or the effect?
Right.
It will be the effect. Insecurity is an effect of something deep underlying. अब अगर हम ये समझें कि अच्छा insecurities क्यों होती हैं? So the cause will lead us to self-esteem.
Okay. Okay.
Self-esteem.
तो इसको अगर हम उर्दू में देखें तो आपका कहना ये है कि जो हमारे अंदर एक कैफियत है कि भाई मैं नामुकम्मल हूँ, मेरे अंदर कमी है, ये जो एहसास कमतरी जिसे हम कहते हैं, इसकी वजह से हमारे अंदर एक खौफ और हिरास की कैफियत होती है, और हमें डर सा लगता है कि यार लोग हमें क्या समझेंगे, और इसकी वजह से शायद हमारे ताल्लुकात में एतमाद की कमी आ जाती है, कॉन्फिडेंस की कमी आती है. और आप कह रही हैं कि अमल और रद्द अमल को अगर नजरिया लिया जाए कॉज एंड इफेक्ट का, तो इनसिक्योरिटी इज द इफेक्ट आप कह रही हैं, और इसकी जड़ जो है
insecurity will be effect.
और इसकी जड़ जो है वो एक एहसास कमतरी, एक एहसास महरूमी भी आप मुमकिन है इसको तस्लीम
अब वो सेल्फ एस्टीम पे जाएगी. ठीक है. अच्छा, नाउ सेल्फ एस्टीम, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट व्हाट इज सेल्फ एस्टीम. राइट. Self-esteem, you're about your own self in the present, today, आज मेरी अपने बारे में क्या राय है? Not in the past, not in the future, today.
Right.
इसको understand करने के लिए we have to understand another concept which is self-concept. कि अच्छा self-esteem और self-concept में क्या फर्क है?
Right.
So very simply, let me explain. आप यूं imagine करें कि self-esteem is your opinion of your own self, or the level of confidence you have on yourself today, in the present time. Self-concept is your ideal version of who you would like to be somewhere in the future.
Okay. अच्छा, ठीक है. और क्या ये जरूरी है कि हमारा सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर हो, और अगर क्लियर होगा तो फिर हमारी खुद एतमादी में इजाफा होगा, या खुद एतमादी में इजाफा होगा तो सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट हमारा बेहतर होगा?
ओके. अब ये आपने बहुत अच्छा सवाल किया मुझसे. let me put it in this way. The size between your self esteem and self concept if it differs too much, like let's suppose in future you would like to be the CEO of a company, and today you feel I'm not even capable of handling an interview properly. There is a huge gap in your self-concept and your sense of self-esteem. So the size between these two will determine the size of crisis you will have in your life. Emotional crisis.
ओके ओके और ये क्राइसिस हमने खुद फिर मैन्युफैक्चर भी किया है.
Exactly.
तो फिर ये सवाल आता है कि मैं क्यों ऐसा सेल्फ कॉन्सेप्ट बनाऊं अपने बारे में मुस्तकबिल के अंदर जिससे मेरी जो सलाहियत है सोचने की और परेशानी और फिक्र मुझे घेर लेती है. मैं क्यों ऐसी हिमाकत करूं? ख्वाहिश तो होती है यकीनन, लेकिन मैं लाशऊरी तौर पे ये कर रहा हूं. इज इट एन अनकॉन्शियस एक्टिविटी और इज इट समथिंग आई डू डिलिबरेटली?
अच्छा, ये भी आपने बहुत ही अच्छा सवाल किया है. इस पे सबसे पहले हमें अपने ही डिजायर्स, द आइडियल वर्जन वी वांट टू बी, उसको रिफ्लेक्ट करना है. इसको मैं कनेक्ट करूंगी एक छोटी सी स्टोरी के साथ. मैं आपको एक स्टोरी सुनाती हूँ और उससे हम फिर फर्दर इन कॉन्सेप्ट्स को
थैंक यू
इन्वेस्टिगेट करते हैं. सो देयर वाज अ जेंटलमैन. वो रोज सुबह उठ के ऑफिस जाने से पहले ही यूज्ड टू गो एंड स्टैंड नियर द बस स्टॉप. वहां पे एक अखबार वाले साहब खड़े होते थे जो अखबार बेचते थे. एवरी डे इन द मॉर्निंग ही हैड अ रूटीन कि वो आते थे वॉक करते करते मुस्कुराते हुए आके, तो जैसे ही वो बस का वेट कर रहे होते थे तो वो उन साहब से एक अखबार खरीदते थे. और जाहिर है वो एक खास टाइम होता है जब आपने ऑफिस जाना होता है सुबह. यूजुअली सब उसी टाइम पे ही जिसकी बस भी आती है, वहां 2-3 और भी हजरात खड़े होते थे यूजुअली उस टाइम पे. तो जब वो अखबार लेने आया करते थे, so every day whenever he used to make the payment for the newspaper, he used to say this to the guy who was selling the newspaper, that how are you today?
अच्छा.
And every day this newspaper seller used to look at him with a strange blank face, as if why I'm okay. He used to give a very
sarcastic look
or sarcastically, as if he didn't want it to be asked. That's how he used it. So एक दिन साथ एक साहब खड़े होते थे, वो बड़े अरसे से ये देख रहे थे तो उनसे रहा नहीं गया. So he asked this gentleman, why do you ask him every day when he responds you so negatively? And you know that he responds to you very negatively and in a very disrespectful manner. But every day you still ask him. So this gentleman replies to him, why should I let him decide how I'm going to act and behave?
Wow. अच्छा, अब इसमें मुझे जो पहलू समझ में आ रहा है वो ये है खुद मुख्तारी का, the autonomy that I need to exercise and for me to shape my life the way I want and behave the way I feel is appropriate. अब इसमें कहीं गड़बड़ ये तो नहीं हो जाती कि हम कॉन्टेक्स्ट को इग्नोर करके अपने लिए और मुसीबत पाल लें और ऐसी हरकत कर जाएं जो कि माहौल की मुनासिबत से ना हो?
अच्छा, अब उसमें होता ये है, इसी एग्जाम्पल को अगर आप जहन में रखें, ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस. अगर हमारे द सेंटर ऑफ आवर इमोशनल ग्रेविटी इज रूटेड anywhere outside of us, so our emotional temperature will rise and lower according to the social climate,
right,
external climate.
जी.
So what will that further lead to? If we will receive praise, tarif, it will give us a sense of euphoria, which is false. Why? Because it doesn't stems out of our own self-approval. That is why we are getting a sense of euphoria from it, praise. Similarly, criticism is going to depress us more than required. Why? Again, it's false, because secretly it only confirms and it's a reaffirmation of our own shaky opinion about ourselves, which
Right.
we don't want to accept.
The shaky opinion about ourselves, our sense of doubt. We don't believe in ourselves. So
In
self-belief
ourselves.
is also in question.
So in both cases, you see,
Right.
in both cases, how we are reacting to
Yes.
anything external
Yes.
is basically shooting from within us,
Yeah. Yeah. Got
right?
it.
Now,
Yeah.
in today's world, what is happening, and this is very important to understand, there is a crisis of self-esteem, self-respect, confidence level. There is a crisis of these. Why? Because in today's generation, this is an intoxicating understanding that we have to be special, and we are special. And what happens is when you talk to yourself like this, you are basically telling yourself that because I'm special or I have to be special, the world needs to treat me in a certain way, and life has to treat me in a certain way.
Okay.
But in reality, ऐसा नहीं होता. And when this doesn't happen, your own sense of self-esteem is based on very fragile things. It's going to collapse very quickly.
वो क्रैश कहते हैं ना, वो जब बंदा क्रैश करता है तो वो डिप्रेशन की जो कैफियत है वो इसी से आती है शायद, कि जब आपको बाहर के स्टिम्युलाई सपोर्ट नहीं करते तो फिर आपके अंदर की जो आवाज है वो आपको सपोर्ट भी नहीं कर रही होती, तो वो जो हमारी छड़ी होती है वो जब छिन जाए तो हम गिर जाते हैं.
हम गिर जाते हैं. अच्छा, अब इसमें I remember, I'll share this about my own personal life. I didn't grow up when I was told, or while I was growing up, I was never told I was special. I never knew I was special, and I never wanted to be special. I grew up with certain sense of values. And over the period of time, those values never deteriorated. They never crumbled or deviated from my path. In fact, they've strengthened, they've deepened, and they've refined over the period of times. So here is a very important thing to understand. What was happening in previous times? Because आप क्योंकि देखें तो previous generations में आप कभी किसी से ये नहीं सुनेंगे कि उसको self esteem का crisis का issue है, या उसको insecurities का problem चल रहा है. This is a product and this is an addition in our vocabularies in the present times. ये आजकल के ज़माने की product है.
अच्छा.
And there is a very, very clear reason for this.
And which
There
is
yes, that where is our sense of self-esteem coming from in present times?
right. Right. यानी कि आज इस लम्हे,
आज के दौर में हमारी sense of self-esteem कहाँ से आ रही है? And to understand this, अब ये बहुत ज़रूरी है. And I would, like everybody to begin to assess this as well in their own lives.
Right.
For example, if I ask you that I want you to define who you are, but there are certain parameters
Okay.
on which you have to respond. One,
Right.
you cannot use anything related to what you do. You
Right.
cannot include any description related to your past achievements, what in the future you intend to do, your relationship status, your sexual orientation, your likings or dislikings, your achievements, your failures. You're not to use any information related to these aspects. And then you have to tell. Who are you?
Oh, I think this exercise that you've given me, our viewers also can benefit from. And I think at
Yes.
this point, I would like to summarize what you've just talked about, which is that our external dependency on feedback, appreciation gives us a good feeling, euphoric feeling. Criticism can devastate us. It implies that if we are vulnerable to external inputs, that we internally are very insecure, and insecure meaning self-doubt, and we crash if we don't get the supports that we need from the outside world. And what we need to address is our sense of who we are. And in this context, what you've asked us to do is to describe who we are or who I am, minus my past successes and failures, minus my aspirational statements, minus so much else that you just said.
Yes.
So I think on this note, we will take a break and, come back for the second part, which is, okay, so
Absolutely.
once we have done this exercise, how do we interpret the outcome? I'm struggling already as to what to write. There's a blank piece of paper in front of me, and I'm saying, who am I? If I can't describe what I do, and what I've achieved, my God, that's a tough
Yes.
one. That's a tough
Yeah.
one. Thank you
And
so much,
then we'll
Syma, for.
continue.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
we will. We will.
Thank you.
So, folks, see you back soon. हाँ जी, अब ये